I just personally could care less about Big Booty Judy. Jello! Today, on this very windy day, I'm reviewing this beautiful 93 Honda Civic SI EG. It is practically stock. It does have a stock motor, the stock D series, but it's technically a replacement motor because the original stuff happened to it. The body itself has got about 190K on it, and the motor itself has about 60K on it. This is what we're calling your grandpa's hatch. It's eventually going to be getting a K series. That'll be coming up soon in the U-Wrench videos. So make sure to subscribe to U-Wrench TV, because that whole swap on Grandpa's hatch will be covered with U-Wrench. Anywho, let's get to the review. First things first, the exterior of the 93 Civic is gorgeous. I personally don't care for the EKs because I don't like the massive bubble butt. I prefer my butts to be flat, just like me. It's got the beautiful Aztec green that Honda put out. A lot of people get the Aztec and the Tahitian green mixed up. It's nowhere near. These are much more greener. I believe the Tahitian is much more bluer. But this gorgeous color is considered Aztec green. It has been repainted, but just the same color. Once it gets the K-Series swap in it, it's going to get another respray, but of course done by Fred, so there'll be another video on the paint job for this beautiful hatch. It's got the SSR wheels, super lightweight, about 7 pounds each without the tire on it, so thumbs up on that. Just like my Honda Civic wagon, it also has the K-Sports, which you guys already know. K-Sports are amazing, there's really no beating them. K-Sports are where it's at. So suspension already, the ride's gonna be good. This is super, where did the wind come from? I'm not a huge fan of a couple of things on this. Like I said before, I don't like the hatch, it's very bubbly. I'm not a huge fan of the handles. I kind of like my wagon where it's got the lift-up handle. So there's that. This is not a base model. I believe it's one of the top models you can get. And it has that awesome sunroof. I don't care for sunroofs, some people do. So as far as my personal review, could care less about the sunroof. Overall, just looking at the car though, it looks good from here forward, in my mind. From here back, it's just that, it's a little different. It's what they were going for, to be different than the normal DX and stuff like that. They went the bubblier route. But it just reminds me of the cars nowadays. You see them, they're big, huge bubbles. Ginormous bubbles on wheels. And I like the much more blocky look. So if we can go back to that, that'd be great. As far as interior goes, this is the original interior, just been reupholstered, fixed up a little bit. As for someone who's short like me, which is the whole point of these reviews, which I think I'm gonna title Munchkin reviews, because I'm tiny. I'm a Munchkin. But for a Munchkin like myself, the ultimate test, it goes far enough forward. So this is all the way forward in the EK hatch. Everything is at a good distance away. Unfortunately, this car does have cruise control. Doesn't work, not sure why. But it is a little close to the steering wheel, closer than I would like it to be. And the steering wheel does kind of, with the dash as well, kind of goes a little bit into my sight too much. With the EK, you guys can actually see that the windshield goes at a very harsh diagonal angle. So it limits your viewing space the more of an angle it's at. So if it wasn't so angled and the roof was brought forward a little bit more so the windshield could be tilted more, then I don't think this whole steering wheel thing would be an issue. I don't know about you guys, but I absolutely hate when the horn buttons are on the side of the steering wheel, like where, the cruise controls and the volume for the radio, in my mind, should be. It does not have a stock radio in here. I don't blame them who would want to use a 1993 radio, but it does have pretty much everything else that's stock. The cluster is nice and very legible. You can very easily read it. The AC vents are nice. They're kind of weird how they're angled because the dash has this little divot in the center, or little like tunnel, I don't know, canal, what do you call that? I don't know. So the vents are a little bit weird because they're curved. This obviously is not stock. It's a nice huge rear view mirror. So that's super nice, but again, not stock. He does have the stock sun visors, which is super cool. It's hard to find any of these older vehicles with any of the stock stuff such as that because they break so easily. So that's super cool. I personally am not a huge fan with what Honda did with these seats. The headrest is weird. I prefer the two poles, kind of like what my Civic has, my wagon has. I'm not a huge fan of this weird bulky side holder thing. It's a little weird in my mind, but almost everything is power controlled, you know, like the mirrors for the sides. It does still have the hand crank, which is nice as long as it doesn't not function. Again, with the interior, I'm not a huge fan of the outside door handles, but the inside door handles I actually don't mind. They're nice and easy to open. It's a nice little grip on the handle, not a big deal. The center console actually has the stock cup holders, which is really rare to find. And the good thing about it is, even though I'm a Munchkin and I have to put my seat all the way forward, the cup holder doesn't run into the seat, which is really, really nice. However, you can't get super tall drinks. I mean, back then in 1993, I don't believe drinks used to be as big as they are nowadays. But the cup holder and where the dash is on top of it, the cup would definitely hit it. So can't get super tall drinks, but you can still get drinks even when you're tiny like me and you need to put the seat all the way forward. I love that Honda kept the gas and trunk release on this little side right here by the driver's seat. That's really nice. Super easy to open, nice little lever. Pops the trunk open really nice and easy. And then you have this ginormous trunk back here. So once that's released, you have the two separate openings for the trunk. You have the window and the bottom half. I do like this. I know it's what they did with the EKs because they're nice and big, but this is really cool. I think it's super awesome that they're separate and they open separately, so you can easily, you know, put something at the top if you want to just lay it on top of this really cool stock little cover, or if you want to get more stuff, bigger stuff into the trunk itself, you can just lay this bottom half down. So it's kind of cool that they did that. I do like that about it, but of course it can only be done if the EK had that bubble butt. So don't like the overall look of it, but do like the functionality. Pretty cool. Alright, time to look under this lady, see what she's got. Find the stick. Tiny little baby stick. As far as engine bay goes, everything is nice and neatly placed. I know I'm a little biased. You guys know that I love Hondas. Hondas really, as a manufacturer, knew what they were doing. They knew it was for car enthusiasts, for daily drivers, for race cars, anything. So they made it nice and easy to work on within the engine bay. And, you know, pretty much almost everything that's a swap is practically plug and play, which is super awesome because they did not originally plan that, as far as I know. But huge, massive intake. Everything's neatly spaced out, easy to grab onto, easy to work around or maneuver. So, good job, Honda. This motor, again, won't be staying around for long. We've got that K-swap that's going to be going into here, but this is just the stock D-Series that didn't necessarily come with the car, just a replacement stock D-Series. So, according to the owner, Grandpa, it kind of drives like a dog. So we're gonna test that on a quick test drive right now. Let's go. Test drive time. So now that I'm soaking wet with sweat, it's got a nice startup sound. That was not the startup sound. That's Grandpa's camera. It's got in here. But everything is nice and easy to get a hold of right here in the little center console thingy-majigger. Again, Grandpa said this drives like a dog because the motor is not awesome. It's also a stock D-Series, so can't expect much. And even though it's got that slanted or harsh angled windshield, still a nice viewing point. You know, the A-pillars aren't terribly big, so they don't really get in the way. It's nice and smooth, the shifting, that's nice. Of course, it's a Honda, so can't really go wrong. Even though the steering wheel is kind of in the way for me, like visually, it's nice that it's got this nice huge steering wheel. I believe, if I'm not mistaken, it's got power steering. It at least feels like it does. If it doesn't have power steering, then it's really nice for steering without it. Hopefully won't have to use my horn, because if I do, I won't be able to find it because I hate the thumb horns. She sounds nice and purdy like. It's got a stock exhaust too, but it still has a nice little grrr to it. Nice little pretty sound, if you will. Super comfortable to ride in. However, since it already drives like a dog, Grandpa, the owner, did say that putting on the AC would just make it 10 times worse. So it is super hot out right now, and I'm already drenched in sweat, but I'm not going to kill this motor more than, I'm not going to make it struggle more than it already is. Going over bumpy roads, it's nice and smooth. You can barely feel the bumps. Not too bad of a ride. Again, it's the K Sports, so I didn't really expect anything less. But I don't know, it's K Sports on a different vehicle. You never know. The steering is not super touchy. There's quite a bit of travel in the steering wheel before it actually starts to turn. Like right here, I'm completely straight right now. Even though I'm shaking this back and forth, still going straight down the road. Until you get to that point, it doesn't start to drift or turn. So it's got a little play with the steering. Not sure if that's just how it is or because it's an older car. Not sure if that's the rack or what, but little steering play. I don't know if you guys know, but my first car I ever owned was actually an 89 hatch with a ZC swap in it. So I am partial to the hatches and the wagons. I am biased, I guess you could say. Nice grippy bricks. Oh goody, there's a train! Well, Steve did say it likes to idle high, and this car's been having idle issues for some weird reason. So, oh, the train ended. Never mind, I guess we won't get to mess with idling issues at all. That's nice. My hatch actually had an idle issue as well. Not all Hondas have that idle screw, so it's not super easy to manipulate the idle and change it around. So, oh well. Right now it's idling just under $1,000, so idling okay. Let's see how comfortable it stays over the railroad tracks. Oh yeah, like butter. Just like butter. Alright, let's see how it handles a U-turn though. Oh yeah, nice and smooth like. Shifts really nice. The clutch does have quite a bit of travel room, meaning there's a lot of clutch that travels. But let's go back over the railroad tracks again. Woo! Little bumpy, but not too bad. Nice little test drive. Super comfortable. I would definitely, you know, as a grocery getter, a daily driver, this is like the perfect vehicle for that. It's got nice big trunk space. It's got the back seats. Overall comfortable to drive. Even though it supposedly has a dog, you know, the motor drives like a dog, it really isn't noticeable to me. But you never know when you're doing a motor swap what, you know, the new motor is going to act like. Sure, in the last car it was in, it was fine, but in your car there might be something different about it. So I think that's what happened with this, because it was a replaced D-Series. But I'm going to trust the guy who drives it every single day, Grandpa, and he admittedly says it drives like a dog, so But again, I don't notice anything. I think this is great. It's not as fast as my wagon, but it doesn't need to be, especially for the daily driver. As long as they can get up to highway speeds or drive around town perfectly fine, there's no need for it to be a fast motor. Of course, when this gets the K-Series, it's going to be a whole different story. I also had somebody in my comments say that I'm just leaning towards Honda, and in a way, yeah, I'm very biased with my reviews because I like Honda, Toyota, you know, Miata products. Yeah, it's a little biased, but it's not my fault that other manufacturers out there are so flawed. This is a point of view from someone who has driven quite a bit on the racetrack, on the street, so I know what I like, yes, but it's also, again, Honda just overall hit it out of the park with almost every single one of their vehicles. I haven't driven every single Honda there is out there, so I'm sure I'm going to find one or another I don't like, and then I won't be so biased, because regardless if it's Honda or not, if I don't like it, I don't like it. The whole point of Munchkin Reviews is to review cars from a short person's perspective. So Honda has kind of been all-inclusive, but it's just because where Honda originated from, there's quite a few short people. So I think they kind of knew what crowd they were aiming towards with that. Woo! Man, it's hot. That's one down for this car without it having AC and with the black interior and like an almost 100-degree weather. It's not fun. It's not fun. I'm not having a good time. Mustache sweating. Almost had to use my horn. It's a green light, people. Yep. It's a nice little compact car, so it fits in most parking spaces. Because, you know, we live in Tucson and for some reason nobody knows how to park. So it's nice when you've got tight parking spaces. Whoa, don't know why I grabbed the steering wheel like that. Overall, it's a great car to drive. Again, it's perfect daily driver, grocery getter, you know, kid hauler, body hauler, hauls everything. I would definitely recommend this, especially if you're someone who's short like me and needs a nice little car that's not too crazy on gas mileage. But yeah, overall, great vehicle to drive, super fun, super easy, nice little grocery getter, daily driver, very smooth. Yes, it's got the K-Sports, that helps it a little bit, but I mean, it's at 190K for a 93 chassis. That's like unheard of, and the motor's got 60K on it. Like, this car just was put together correctly. Honda knew what they were doing. Besides the trunk, I don't care for a big booty Judy. If you do, more power to you. I just personally could care less about big booty Judy. Anywho, that's it for this review. Thank you guys for watching, and hope to catch you next time on Munchkin Reviews. Bye!